Hi guys, we're working on that Telecaster project I told you I would start up after the arch top is finished. And I'm going to show you a few things on this. So this body's already been routed out. It's been completed. It's made out of a mahogany back. Nice maple top, which we're going to put a flame top on. I'm going to show you how to do that in the series of videos that's coming up with this build. Later on you'll see and you'll notice that there's a little notch here at the first pickup. And that's for the truss rod adjustment, because on this one, it's going to be adjusted on the bottom versus on top of the headstock. So you have a nice, smooth, clean headstock. But to get that flame top, we're also going to put a natural binding edge. It's not going to be bound with plastic or purloin. It's going to be its natural stain color. So what you want to do is tape that along that seam between the maple and the mahogany. And you want to be really careful just to tape only the maple section so the stain or the dyes do not get into that mahogany, making an uneven line. So I've gone ahead and done that already. And then we're going to be using these alcohol-based dyes. You can buy them online. So you're going to need a jar for it, some hot water. I keep it in thermos just because it stays hotter. And of course some denatured alcohol to mix with it. For this you want to make the wash pretty thin. And as we go along you'll see why. But you want to make that wash pretty thin. So you're not going to use a really strong black. You're going to use kind of a weak black, nearly grayish color. And you'll see why as it brings out the flame pattern in this body. So let me get this all set up for you and we'll go to work on this. Okay, before we get started on any of the mixing of the dyes or anything like that, first thing you want to do is make sure this body is clean of handprints, no oils from your skin. That'll leave little marks in it and greasy spots. So you want to sand this up to a nice 220 finish. A little bit of denatured alcohol just to make sure there's nothing else on there, no residual grease that's left deeper in the wood pores. And if you're worried about this affecting the dye when you wipe this off with a denatured alcohol, like I said, it dries almost instantly. You don't really need to worry about that because you're going to be mixing it in with the dye itself. Alright, let's go mix in that dye now. I'm going to get your little jar out. This is the black dye. And you also notice I'm wearing rubber gloves to make sure I don't get none of my grease or oil on there. I'm taking a level 1/8 teaspoon of the black dye into the jar. And you will be needing hot water to diffuse that dye into the alcohol. So you put in your alcohol. Roughly quarter cup or so with this jar. I mean, that's strictly up to you. It's not nothing that has to be exact. Make sure your water is hot. I like to use this thermos like I said. And we're going to add some hot water to it. And this helps break down and diffuse the dyes. And that should be more than enough right there. Just a couple of tablespoons of hot water. Clamp that off. And mix it up. It helps to keep a clean work area too so you don't spill things and don't have any other problems. Here's my application rag. You're just going to look at that. You can see it's pretty dark, but it won't be when it's applied. Make sure that that body is really clean. Free of anything. Let's take a look at it. Looks like all the dye has been dissolved, so we're going to apply it to our body. Make sure you get the edges as well. What we're trying to do here is get that to sit down into the grain. And don't worry about this color right now because you're going to be sanding this off. You're going to use some 320, 220. Either one will work out effectively. And you're going to take it off so that you only see those tiger stripes. So after you've got this on here pretty well, don't want to get it too runny on the sides. We don't want to get it to bleed under that tape. But after you've got this covered up pretty well here, make sure you check everything's colored. And I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but this stuff dries really fast. So that's our black. Now we're going to go ahead and mix up the top color, which is going to be like a butterscotch. So again, we're going to go through the same process as before with the alcohol, the hot water, and the dye. Yeah, the yellow's done. Lastly, when I add this color, which I've already previously mixed, I used on other bursts and things of the cranberry color. We're just going to make a light burst out of this, sweep it in from the edges. Again, use a clean rag. Test it on your wood because you don't know if your jars are marked right. Make sure you got your jar marked right. Yeah, that's it. That's that cranberry. That's just going to be edged. Work my way in from it. You're just going to edge it like this, go around the outside. Maintain that roughly the same distance as you go around. You can see that red is on the edge there already. Alright, now that it's there, you're going to use a clean rag, you're going to just brush that in, sweep it into the middle. Take your yellow again, go back over those areas. Just sweep that back in there. If you want to see any marks, you just want it to fade in. Just to where that almost disappears. Sweep a little more of that cranberry color in. Start from the outside, work your way in. maintain that same distance all the way around. I like to use my fingers as a gauge, so I know how far in I am. And when you get there, before that dries, sweep that in. And really work that into there. A good effective burst should transition. It shouldn't look like a series of lines. Go ahead and dry out the middle as well. Okay, it's been about 24 hours since I completed the dye job on the body of this guitar. It's had plenty of time to dry. I just want to get you a look at it here, and it's exactly where I want it with that color. It's a beautiful butterscotch yellow with just a very faint burst on the edge, that nice cranberry color that we mixed up. And this is the edge I was talking about here, as far as just a natural stained edge versus putting some type of binding on there. It's nice and clean, and you can see as long as you do a nice tape job on it, it's a nice straight edge all the way around the body. It looks really well. Sometimes less is more. Because this is a very nice piece of mahogany here, I'm not going to stain the back. It's going to just be sprayed clear with that nitrocellulose lacquer. And we'll be doing that in the next step. But before you do that, you want to tape up anything that you don't want to get clear into, except for, of course, the ferrule holes. What you'll do is you'll ream those out later, front and back, before you press the ferrules in. You get some clear down on this, and if you like us, that's A Customs Handcrafted Guitars. Hit that like button down there on the bottom of the screen, and we'll shoot you out more video to try to help you out along with your build. Thanks a lot.